From the beginning, all I ever wanted to do was build something I could be proud of. And that began with owning and acknowledging my weaknesses. What's up guys, this is AJ Ellison. I'm a father, a husband, former 3-time WBFF world champion, and current IFBB pro. In high school, I was a runner. In college, I ran collegiately as well, qualified for Olympic trials way back in 2000. And then I transitioned into Jiu Jitsu and MMA. And at the age of 34, I had a nasty tricep tear and I thought I'll cross over and do bodybuilding. So bodybuilding gave me an outlet to satisfy my competitive urges. I've been an athlete all my life. And then after I had that nasty tricep tear back in 2009, 2010, kind of went in a spiral downhill. I felt sorry for myself and started drinking heavily, doing something to pacify the fact that I was injured. So I ended up getting a DUI that year, which is like the most traumatizing thing for me. And then I looked to bodybuilding to kind of pull myself out of that hole. Once I picked myself up off the ground, a buddy of mine had suggested I get into fitness modeling because one of his mates back home did it. And at the time I was like, that's kind of a weird thing to say to me, but he planted the seed in my head, and I think I might have been in a Starbucks or a Barnes & Noble's, a bookstore, getting a coffee, and I saw a Men's Health magazine on the table. I looked at it, saw the guy on the cover. I don't know who was on the cover. I saw the guy on the cover and I thought, I could probably do that. So getting on stage wasn't something that I was really trying to do initially. Mind you, I'm coming from an MMA background. All my friends are punching and kicking each other in the face for fun. And then if I didn't want to go back to them and say, hey man, guys, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna retire from this, I'm gonna start modeling in my underwear. I didn't want to catch that heat from my friends. So anyways, I was secretly trying to make those connections and make it happen. And I wrote all these little goals down on a sticky note, put it on my bathroom mirror so only I can see it. And then within that 12-month cycle from the first time that I thought about doing it, I ended up getting my first cover of the magazine, ended up winning my pro card, ended up leaving my job and doing my own thing. And I was able to cross all those things off my list. And once that happened, my friends didn't laugh at me anymore, right? So I was confident in telling them what I was gonna do, because now, this is 10 years later, this is just what AJ does. So back then, the people that I looked up to, like I liked Frank Zane. Back then, I used to watch all his little videos. Also Sergio Nubret. So those are the two guys that I looked at in that bodybuilding realm. So I won 3 times the WBFF World Championship. The first one was a surreal moment. You're just taking it all in. And the second time was kind of solidifying my name, right? And then to win it a third time at the age of 41, I think it was, probably was the most meaningful to me. Because one, I was over the age of 40. And at the time, no one on the guy's side had won 3 world titles. So after a few years of people telling me to make that switch from the WBFF to the IFBB, I finally decided to do so because I felt like my light was dimming and I felt like I wanted to retire. And once I made the decision to make that switch and cross over to the IFBB, that flame was rekindled and relit again. And again, at the age of 41 or 42, most people are thinking about retiring, and I'm thinking about starting all over again with a new organization. So I think over the past decade, I have a lot of changes happening in my life, going from the corporate world to competing in bodybuilding or the bodybuilding realm, and just recently having the birth of our child, Courage. He's now 8 months old. I think that's been the biggest impact over the past decade. I didn't know if I wanted kids, but when I married my wife, I adopted the 2 girls. We have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old. And I was cool with that, right? I thought I'd find a cheat code to life. I skipped the infancy stages. I didn't have to change any diapers. I'm good, right? But we had Courage, and it was just an eye-opening, life-changing experience, and it's been such a blessing. It's hard work. I don't know if these cameras can pick up the bags underneath my eyes, but it's the most rewarding thing I've ever had in my life. What are my goals in 2020? Good question. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm looking to put on some size in the off season, and we'll see if I can do that. I suffered some quad tendon tears last year, got some stem cell injections done. So that's the reason why I did men's physique last year. But if I can put on the right amount of size, I'd like to try my hand at classic physique, that's where my heart's at. Now, Olympia might be out of the question this year, but that's still a big goal of mine. So that might be 2021, we'll see. In my lifetime, I've been passionate about 2 things. One was track and field, and obviously the other one's bodybuilding. And having that passion, it allows you to go 110%. And what I mean by that is when you're passionate about something, you're willing to do all the little things on a daily basis that most people aren't willing to do. And that's what separates the average from people that do great things. And I think passion is a key element in that. So if I can give one advice to anybody out there or to my younger self, it would be find that passion.